I loose the world from all I thought it was. You loose the world from all you thought it was. Welcome back, fam. Today we will be studying lesson 132 of A Course in Miracles, and we are going to dive deeper on the idea today that this world means nothing within itself. Everything we see, meaningless. If that's too strong of a word, we can use the word neutral, meaning it is neutral, but your thoughts about that thing that you're looking at are not neutral. Remember, me and you only have two options to choose from, which we're doing every single instant. We are choosing whether we're aware of it or not. Every instant we are choosing between two options. One is truth, one is not really there. One is God, one is not really there. One is love, one is not really there. Now, I'm sure we get the point by now, but today we are going to understand that this world means nothing in itself. This world is simply a depiction of what you think it is. And the only reason why you could think the way you do is because you're perceiving with that lens. And the only way you could perceive something is because you have that to give. You have that to give. Remember, we only see a projection or an extension. Again, another way of saying we have two options to choose from at every moment in time is either extension or what is not really there. Extension or projection. Now, let's go a little bit deeper on this concept before we begin. So, projection is whenever you are giving something that you really don't have to give. It is an illusion. Whenever you believe that there's any sort of fear or lack that exists within you, you are projecting it outwards, thinking that you're seeing it outside of yourself. And it's not really there because you can't give what you don't have. Being love, you can only give love. Now, extension is the opposite of projection. Extension is how you actually extend what you are, which is love. Meaning, whenever you do anything out of love or any emotion that stems from love, you are actually giving, you're actually doing something because you're extending what you have to give. Now, whenever you give something out of lack or any fear, any emotion that fear may take on, you're not really giving nothing. You're simply projecting. Now, here's why this is, and then we're going to go ahead and begin. So, we've used this analogy before. It's the analogy that the Course uses, although I've switched it up a little bit, but the meaning is still there. The form may be different, but there is who you are, love and light. This is who God created, and this is what cannot change. It is unalterable, changeless, eternal perfection, and this is who you are. This is who I am, and this is who the person we dislike the most is. This is what everything in this world is, because remember, everything we see means nothing in itself, but it is reflecting back an idea. Remember, everything I think I see is reflecting but an idea. So again, that mic right there, this speaker, this beanie, the device that you're watching this from means nothing in itself. It is a symbol, and that symbol doesn't mean nothing. The symbol is dust. This body is going to turn to dust one day. So let's consider it dust right now because time is really only a belief as well. Therefore, this is really not going on right now. I know that sounds esoteric and very conceptual, but we're going to understand why this is here in a moment. Now, to continue, everything that we think we see is basically a symbol, and it is symbolizing information, an idea. So although this body is dust and it's really not here, and it's temporary, therefore it never really was created because only what God created exists. What this body is symbolizing exists. It is the idea of who I am. It is an idea. This beanie is dust. It's not really here. It means nothing. I've given this beanie all the meaning that it has for me. It is simply an idea. Everything we see reflects an idea. Now, let's continue. This is who you really are. And one day you thought, I wonder what it would be like to be separate from my creator, from my source, from all that is. So although you never really left because you cannot leave, a little part of your mind took that thought seriously and actually began to believe it. And you wandered off. And now you think that you're actually capable of being separate from your source. So although you really changed nothing in reality, in truth, you believe that you did. And believing something is just as powerful as it actually happening. because it's really happening from your perspective, and your perception is valid. It is who you are. You are unique. You are an equivalent counterpart of all that is. So because me and you believe that we actually wandered off and we changed what God created before, and remember, this is happening before we took on these bodies. Me and you are now identified with this self we made that is not really there, this idea of who we think we are that we made apart from God. And that's a lot of guilt to take on. We are like, oh crap, I just separated myself from God. I don't know what I'm going to do. God's going to be pissed at me. I just, I literally just, I just did something so bad. And although we're not really thinking this on a conscious level, this is what's happening behind the scenes. Me and you wandered off and believed that we actually changed what God created, and we have all this guilt on us, and we feel so bad. We feel terrible. And that is because whenever you're separate from your source, of course you're going to feel fear, because your source is love. And when you're apart from it, what is the opposite of love? Fear. And any form that fear may take, which is guilt, is one of the biggest ones. Now, by believing that we actually changed truth, we said, you know what? And this world was made. This world is made to sort of mitigate all of that guilt that you felt that you had, and all of that fear that you thought that you had. You made this world. The ego, while being not in your right mind, made this world so that way you can believe that all of the fear and the guilt is happening outside of you. Now you're here, you grow up in this world, and you're saying they're guilty, it's their fault. I'm this way because that happened to me whenever I was a child, and my parents didn't do this for me, or they did this to me, and my financial situation's like this because of them, and or I'm better than them because they don't have enough. They're not doing as good as me. I'm better. I know more, etc. All of those are forms of fear. All of those are forms of fear. And if me and you are here right now in these bodies, which we are, and so is everyone else, we believe what we're discussing right now at a level beneath our awareness. We have mitigated all of the pain that we think, we have mitigated all of the punishment that we think God would give to us if he found out that we separated and ran away from our inheritance. So to make sure that we don't get punished by God, we simply made a world where punishment was possible. Now, we didn't do this knowingly. By being not in our right mind, we began to make insanely, and we made this world. This body was made by me and you, because remember, what God created is timeless and eternal. This body is going to turn to dust one day, and again, let's consider it dust right now, because time does not exist. It's only a concept within your imagination. It is not outside of you. If time were outside of you, then you would be at effect of time. But because there is nothing outside of you, because you are within the mind of God and nothing can be outside of that, everything is encompassed within that, then you have the power to change your belief systems about this world and understand that you never really changed nothing in truth. Meaning, although me and you believe that God was going to punish us because we thought we changed truth, and we wondered what it would be like to be separate from our source, and we actually got our wish in our minds, although not in truth, and we believe that that was such a bad thing, and we did that, we're chilling. It's okay. It's okay. The ego, though, wants you to believe that it's out there, and that's what me and you are here undoing today. Me and you are here undoing the belief that guilt is out there, and everything out there is not one within a part of you, because it certainly is. You are one within a part of all aspects of creation. Meaning, whenever you see something out there that is not love, i.e., that is not what really is, you're seeing something that's not really there, which is guilt, fear, judgment, pain, jealousy, etc. All of that is of your own making, and you believe, while identifying with the ego, that you are and should be punished. You believe that you are on a level beneath your awareness, and everyone believes this on a level beneath their awareness, that they are lacking something because they deviated from their source, they believe. now we're looking for everything we want outside of us. We're looking for everything we feel like we need and we're lacking outside of us. And we believe that we see attack outside of us. And we believe that we see all of this insanity outside of us when really we made it. We have to remember that me and you in this moment are loosing the world from all that we thought it was, because me and you, by thinking this of the world, is actually making it so from our perspective. Remember, me and you have two separate perspectives, it appears like, in this world anyways. So although you see your current life situation and you're living a hell on earth, and I am living with you, for example, let's say, and I'm living a heaven on earth, how is that possible? We're in the same experience, and we're really not. My experience is in my perception, in my mind, and so is yours. And I am going to picture outward my internal world, and so are you. Therefore, if you believe that there is anything out there that is harmful or anything that you are not already, then you could be sure that that's what's going on within your internal world. And whenever you return to the belief, not even the belief, the fact of love, you don't have to believe, this is just what is. Whenever you return to your source, which you can still do while being in this body, you can still do it, and that is what we've been doing for the past 132 days. But just know, everything we're discussing here is powerful, because up until now we didn't have words to even convey this intention, to convey this powerful meaning, this awareness that me and you have of what's really going on beneath the surface is what's causing us to actually see everything that's going on for what it really is. And now that we see it for what it really is, we can loose the world from all that we thought it was. So let's go ahead and open up to the lesson. If you don't got the book yet, the PDF is in the description, and let's begin. Lesson 132. I loosed the world from all I thought it was. What keeps the world in chains but your beliefs? And what can save the world except your self, your capital S self, i.e., who you really are? Belief is powerful indeed. The thoughts you hold are mighty, and illusions are as strong in their effect as is the truth. A madman thinks the world he sees is real and does not doubt it. Nor can he be swayed by questioning his thoughts' effects. It is but when their source is raised to question that the hope of freedom comes to him at last. Powerful right there, let's pay attention. It is but when their source, which is us, is raised to question that the hope of freedom comes to him at last. Freedom, our only hope of freedom is understanding that me and you have the ability to choose something different at every moment in time. Me and you chose to see the world that we see because we chose to mitigate the pain and the fear and the judgment we thought we would get from God. So we took it on upon ourselves to go ahead and inflict that pain on ourselves to mitigate the pain that we believed we were going to get from God. Now, we can't really do that, and think about how arrogant that is. The ego, what the ego does is it believes that God is going to punish you for deviating from who you really are, from your source. So the ego takes on the role of God and makes this world to go ahead and inflict punishment on itself, so that way you don't get it from God. But that's arrogant, because the ego believes that it's capable of taking the place of God. So again, we don't use these words, but this is what's going on here. And the text talks about this in depth, in massive depth, in a way that I'm not able to explain right off the top of my head at this moment in time. But just know that that's kind of the concept of what's going on here. Is me and you have literally took the role of God while being not in our right mind, trying to punish ourselves the way we believe that God would punish us if he found out that me and you have ran away and deviated from our source, from God. But me and you don't really know God. Me and you, while identifying with the ego, don't really know God. God is love, God is light, eternal, infinite, and you can never really do anything that changes what God creates. God loves you, always has, and always will. And no matter what you do in this world that appears guilty or sinful or whatever it may be, you can never do anything that will that will cause God to change his mind about you, because who you are hasn't really changed. It's only a belief that you're here right now, and me and you are here in each other's presence, undoing that insane belief that came out of a state of mind of stupidity. Like, none of this is really going on here, and me and you are picturing out what we would like to see. And it's only whenever we change our minds about what we would like to see that we could finally see the real world. Me and you can see heaven, and we can return to our source even while being here in these bodies, which is very temporary, and this is going to only endure an instant. This world only endures an instant, meaning, let's just say the average lifetime here is 80 years. What is 80 years to eternity? That quick, an instant, a nanosecond. So although it appears that it's taking long here in this world, and we have done so many years of whatever it is that we think we have done here in this world, don't worry. Whenever it's done, you're gonna be like, wow, that was quick. It happened in the blink of an eye. So let's continue. But the text talks a lot about what we're discussing right now in depth, and I encourage you to read the text. Yet is salvation easily achieved, for anyone is free to change his mind, and all his thoughts change with it. Now the source of thought has shifted, for to change your mind means you have changed the source of all ideas you think or even thought or ever thought or yet will think. Now this is powerful. I'm going to read this one more time, and then we're going to discuss it a little bit. Now the source of thought has shifted, which is me and you. We are the source of thought. For to change your mind means you have changed the source of all ideas you think or ever thought or yet will think. Now, because me and you changed our mind, we changed the source of all the ideas we have ever thought about ourselves. So let's keep in mind that there's things in this world right now that are able to cause irrational and uncontrollable emotions in us. We know this. We know that after me and you go our separate ways and we're in this state of mind, and then we fall back asleep, and something occurs in this world time and time again that pushes our buttons, and it gets us triggered, upset, worried, doubt, fear, angry, etc. And we in that moment have no control over it because we fall asleep and we're unaware. Now, by me and you changing our mind right now in this moment is actually changing the source, and it states right here, of all the ideas me and you have ever thought. So remember, everything in this world, the speaker, the highlighter, that individual over there, the situation involving blank, that condition involving blank, that circumstance involving blank, all of those things that happened in the past that still have emotional charge to you, and they get you triggered and show up time and time again in different faces and different places, but they continuously trigger you, and you put band-aids over them in the world without solving the problem at its source. They keep showing up, and it gets tiring to put band-aids over everything just to look the other way and see another reflection over there reflecting back that unhealed part of you that you have not healed. Now, the best way to go about this is look directly at that thing you are so fearful to look at, that deepest, darkest secret of yours that you believe you shouldn't have. Just look directly at that and dispel it with the light, because it is not really there. And whenever you understand that me and you are the source of our thought, and right now by changing our mind, we change the source of all ideas we have ever thought. If we look upon those thoughts that trigger us right now in this state of mind, and we blow out their charge together right now, if we dispel them together right now, which we can do, just think about it and it's done right now. Me and you are dispelling those thoughts because they are not really there. Now, because we changed the source, those things can never push our buttons again, because they no longer have charge over us. They are no longer in control. Me and you are the source. We are the cause, and everything out there is the world of effect. And if anything out there can make you the effect of it, if anything out there could affect you, would be a better way to state it. If anything out there could affect you and the way you feel, you don't have power over that thing. Therefore, you're powerless. And I'm sure you don't want to be powerless, because you are powerful. And it would be unnecessary for you to give your power away to something that really can't take your power, but because you believe it can, that's just as powerful as actually giving your power away. We are here to take it back and understand that if anything out there is affecting us in any way that we wouldn't choose, we actually did choose it because we gave it the power, and we can just as easily take that power back, which is what we're doing with today's lesson. And not only today's lesson, but the entirety of everything we've studied so far and will study. We are doing it to return to our power, because this is what we will. Our power is what we will. We will what God wills for us. God's will is not an alien will being thrust upon you, and you don't have to sacrifice anything in this world to do what God wants you to do. No, God is simply there reminding you of what you already know and what you already want, and that little part of your mind that we call the ego is who you think you are, and in that instant you're identified with the ego. You can't hear your right mind, so you don't know what you really want. The ego believes that it wants something outside of itself because that's what this world was made for. Because the ego believes it's separate. The ego doesn't even understand nothing. It knows nothing being nothing. And you're looking for something outside of yourself in order to make you whole, and you see stuff outside of yourself that is capable of attacking you and diminishing you. And all of these insane illusions are just not so. Now let's go ahead and continue to read the lesson and understand why this is so. You free the past from what you thought before. You free the future from all ancient thoughts of seeking what you do not want to find. The present now remains the only time. Right now, this instant is the only time there is, always. There's somewhere that states in the text, the closest approximation to eternity that we can get to in this world is now, in this moment. This is the closest we can get to eternity, is in this nanosecond that continuously passes us, this instant always. Stay here. Do not become preoccupied with past thoughts, because those past thoughts are most likely going to be fearful thoughts, because that's one of the ego's biggest tactics, is to think about what you've done wrong in the past and then project that past wrongdoing onto the future, so you believe the future will be just like it, condemning you to hell in a loop that just continues to loop around. When you break free from the future and the past and you're in this moment, you're free. You are free. You have always been free. You will always be free. And anytime you don't experience this freedom, you are the only one who is capable of changing your mind and coming back to where the freedom is. Always. Now, that may be a little challenging depending on where you are in relationship to this information. Now, I'm sure me and you have a very good grasp on this by now, but let's just say an individual out there in the world, okay, who is so deep in the world of illusion, it's going to be challenging for them to maintain the now, because they're so filled with the false thought system of this world. It's easy for them to go back into the illusions because they've done it their whole life, and so have me and you, which is why it's a little easy for us to think those illusions. But because we have practiced this on a consistent basis for the past few months now, it's becoming easier and easier for us to stay enlightened and aware and awake and in love. And that is what we will for ourselves always. That is what that individual over there wills for themselves, but they can't see it because they're not in the right mind. Therefore, they believe that that car is going to make them happy. They believe that that relationship is going to make them happy. Down amount of money, that individual acting a certain way or not doing a certain thing. They believe that they are going to find their salvation, i.e. happiness, i.e. love, i.e. all those emotions that they feel whenever they're in the right mind outside of themselves, but they're not going to find it because they're not in the right mind. So you can't find truth when you're searching for it where it is not. You can't find truth when you're looking for it in the illusion. You can't find truth where it is not. You have to find truth where it is. Again, all of this is very common sense whenever you're in your right mind, but to the sleeping mind, to the ego mind, this sounds very complex because the ego does not understand anything, which is why what we're discussing right now sounds complex. These words that the course expresses are very hard to misinterpret, and I'm sure you've become aware of that by now. It says exactly what it means, but it doesn't mean that they are not impossible to misinterpret. They can still be misinterpreted by a mind that is not in the right mind, because they are perceiving with the lenses and they're going to see everything from that color of lens. Meaning if these lenses were red, I'm only going to see red everywhere I look. I'm only going to see everything tinted darker than what it really is. But if I remove the glasses completely, then I will see everything as it really is with true vision and see that there was nothing to be afraid of, and I'm already perfectly whole right now. I'm a perfection of God's making. Let's continue. And we have to remember one more thing before we do continue, is that everything outside of us is simply a symbol, and it doesn't mean nothing, but what it symbolizes again means something. For example, this water bottle is a symbol. It means nothing. It is dust. It is not eternal, but the idea that it is portraying is eternal and will live on forever. That tree out there is not real. The symbol of the tree is not real, but what it's symbolizing is real. Make sense? The tree itself is dust. It does not mean nothing, but the idea behind the tree is eternal and will live on forever. This body, although it may not may, but this body which will perish one day and is dust, although the body, which is nothing, perishes, what it symbolizes, which is who I am, will live on forever, eternally. That is who I am. I am eternal, and I am no longer bound to this body because I have freed myself. Now, if this is a little challenging to understand, let's use another analogy before we continue. Words, for example. When we're reading these words, the words mean nothing, but what the intention behind the words means everything. For example, if I spell out the word tree, Tree, that shape that looks like a T and an R and an E and an E, it is shape, it is ink on a page, it means nothing. It is nothing. It is just a word. But whenever you hear the word or read the word tree, what comes to your mind? A tree. So although the tree is not in the book, you have a picture of a tree cross your mind whenever you read that word, because that word is nothing in itself, but it is implying an idea of something that is real. Make sense? Same thing with everything that we think we see in this world. It's just reflecting an idea. This water bottle again, that microphone over there, the device that you're watching this from means nothing. It is dust. It is a symbol that is not real, but what it is symbolizing is real. It's like the word that is not real, but it conveys the idea of the tree. This water bottle is just conveying the idea of life, if you will. This speaker right here is conveying the idea of sound and so on and so forth. And when we view life as it really is, which is through ideas and eternalness, then you can create so much more effectively, because now you can manipulate all the ideas that you see crossing your mind, if that makes sense. We're going to get into creation a little bit later, but before we do that, we have to know who we are before we start creating. Because again, we've talked about this a few days ago. If somebody creates when they're not in their right mind and they're trying to manifest something, they're doing it out of lack, and therefore, one, it's going to be a lot harder to get, and two, it's a quick little fix, and they're going to go back to the hell that they made for themselves, and they're going to have to manifest more stuff in order to feel free, and they're going to have to keep going on that hamster wheel cycle, and they're not going to remember who they truly are because they're not looking for truth. They're trying to fix the band-aids out there, and their body's going to perish, and the ego and that their belief system is still going to come back and inhabit another body and another body and another body until they finally remove all the fear that they believe exists within them. That's how this works, which is insane, because now it got me thinking, how many times have I been here? How long has it taken me in this world to actually remember this information that I am in the presence of right now? That's a thought for another day, but let's go ahead and continue. For as you let the past be lifted and release the future from your ancient fears, again, ancient doesn't imply 80 years. Ancient implies thousands of years. Furthermore, reinforcing the idea that we just discussed, how many times have we been doing this over and over again? Ancient seems like a long time. I'm sure this is not our first go round here together. You find escape and give it to the world. You have enslaved the world with all your fears, your doubts and miseries, your pain and tears, and all your sorrows press on it and keep the world a prisoner to your beliefs. Death strikes it everywhere because you hold the bitter thoughts of death within your mind. Now, before we continue, one thing I do want to say, I believe this paragraph right here is conveying, is if you think back to the lesson, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. Me and you are an essential part to God's plan for salvation. Me and you are an essential part to the entirety of this world because me and you are contributing to it right here and right now. And we have always been contributing to it. And it states right here, you have enslaved the world with your fears, your doubts and miseries, your pain and tears, and all your sorrows press on it and keep the world a prisoner to your beliefs. Now, if we think about the idea, I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. And because this is true, by me being sad and in my not right mind, and by being sick, by being fearful and jealous and envy and experiencing lack, all those emotions are what I am emitting forth from my being. I am walking, talking, acting, thinking, speaking, and feeling from that false state of mind. Therefore, everyone around me is learning by what I'm teaching. Although I'm unaware that I'm teaching at every moment, I'm teaching. And the world is picking up what I'm putting down unknowingly, and they're absorbing my belief system. Therefore, furthermore, imprisoning the world because I am imprisoned in my mind, and anyone who is in the world of illusion is going to look at me, and they're going to look at me, and I am going to justify their belief system as well because I am imprisoned in that moment. The world's looking at me and they're saying, see, being sad is real. Being depressed is real. Being not enough, having not enough is real. See, I don't have enough, and it's true because look, that person doesn't have enough either. What I am living is justified. I am not in control. I am perpetuating that thought system in everyone's mind whenever I'm not in my right mind because although they may not be aware that they're learning from me, and they are using me as their reason to justify their own hell that they're living in. However, by me and you doing the opposite, which is what we're doing now, which is being in the state of enlightenment and in love, in peace and joy, and being as God created us, we are contributing to the well-being of the planet, not only the planet, but the universe. Me and you are contributing to that well-being, not only in this time and place, but in all times that have been and will be. Me and you are contributing to the well-being of all that is right now, what was, and what will be. Over here and over there, we are contributing to the well-being of it all. Me and you are essential. Now, by us being in our right mind, and somebody who is in the illusion looks at us, they have no reason to justify their insane belief systems because we cut it off right there, right then and there. They look at us and they see us living a heaven on earth by the way we express ourselves without even trying. This just happens naturally. We express ourselves with love and joy and gratitude, and the people who are in the illusion could react and respond in either one of two ways. The first example, they can see that and they get triggered by that because it is going against everything that they currently believe. Therefore, they feel they need to defend themselves against something because their thought system has no foundation at all. Therefore, they need to continuously perpetuate its existence, which takes an unnecessary amount of creative power that they could be flowing elsewhere if they were aware, but they're not. And the second way they could react and respond is they see you and you're such a clear mirror because you have no more triggers and no more blocks, and you are being the pure light shining through this body. Although the physical eyes may not see it, they feel that, and they feel that aura and that essence, and you resonate with that individual because they feel something that is deep within them that has been lying dormant for a long time reawaken, and they feel gravitated towards you. So just be aware that there are two ways people could respond, and neither of those ways, each of those ways has everything to do with the way that they're perceiving you. Remember, what people think about you has everything to do with what they think about themselves, nothing about you. And that's important to know because what me and you think about anyone else out there has nothing to do with that person. They're just reflecting back to us what we have put on them, what we have projected on them. So it's important to keep everything we're discussing in mind. Let's continue, but let's know that me and you are essential to the well-being of everyone around us and everyone that appears to be in a different time and in a different place. we are contributing to the well-being of all that is. The world is nothing in itself. Your mind must give it meaning, and what you behold upon it are your wishes, acted out so you can look on them and think them real. That's a powerful way to begin the first few sentences of this paragraph. I believe they're worthy of being highlighted. This entire paragraph, actually, let's continue and you'll see why. Perhaps you think you did not make the world, but came unwillingly to what was already made, hardly waiting for your thoughts to give it meaning. Yet, in truth, you found exactly what you looked for when you came. Powerful paragraph right there. Tiny little paragraph compacted with lots of meaning. Now, let's go ahead and break this down real quick before we continue. It states right here, and this is what the world thinks. This is what the entire world is thinking right now, including me and you when we're not in our right mind. Perhaps, I'm going to use they, but we're discussing the world and me and you when we're asleep. Perhaps they think they did not make the world, but came unwillingly to what was made already, hardly waiting for their thoughts to give it meaning. Yet, in truth, they found exactly what they were looking for when they came. Now, remember, not only are me and you love and light, every single one of us we are all one, but we wandered off and we all felt that guilt as a result of doing so. And in order to mitigate our own sense of separation and fears, we projected outward all of the fears apart from us, seemingly, so that way we feel like it's happening out there and we didn't do it and it's happening to us, instead of we actually are the creators of the fear. We made the fear, but now to mitigate that belief and that pain that we think that God's going to inflict on us, we project it outward, and now it appears that we're at the effect of the world that we see. But we have to remember that in truth, me and you found exactly what we are looking for when we came. So right now, whatever we're seeing, whether you're seeing a hell or a heaven, you are getting what you're wanting. Meaning an individual over there who is living a hell right now in their minds, therefore, because their internal world is hell, it's going to obviously be projected outward. Because they are living a hell on earth, they want that. And they are choosing that. You have to remember that every single instant, me and you have the power of choice. Every instant, me and you have the willingness to choose something different if we so choose. Every instant, we can choose right now. Now, that individual, because they are choosing and choosing and choosing what they say they don't want, they really do want it. Because remember, while identifying with the ego loves that stuff. The ego loves looking for scraps of their brother's wrongdoing. The ego loves looking for guilt out there in another one, because you're good, they're guilty, they're the problem, they're the reason why I don't have enough. They're the reason why I'm better than them, because they're not enough. The ego loves looking for separation in any way that it can, because it perpetuates its existence. It continues to keep that belief that is unbelievable going. It continues that world. Now, me and you, in truth right now, want this. And because we want it and we choose this, we have it. We have a beautiful internalized remembrance of truth. We have a beautiful internal state of mind. We are at peace. There is love. There is joy here. There is laughter. There is happiness. There is fulfillment. There is wholeness. And because internally, in this powerful tool of ours that we have learned to use, and we are getting better at using it as the days go by, we cannot see anything other than what we are living internally out there. Meaning out there is beautiful, it's fun, it's joyous, it's laughter, it's just lovely, it's happiness, it's joyous, all those attributes that we would attribute to God. That is what this world is reflecting back to us. But it can only do that because we have internalized the remembrance of this information. We have changed the source, and we can't really change, if you will. We just have removed any blocks that were causing us to not perceive a beautiful world, because beauty is all there is. Beauty God created, love God created. Me and you did not have to develop this state of mind. It's always been here and it's always here. Me and you are no different than anyone else out there. The only difference between us and them now is that we do not have anything else. I'm going to say that one more time in the way the Course says it. Me and you, us and the world, right? Me and you in this moment and the world do not have anything that does not come from God. Meaning everything I have and you have and the world has all comes from God. But the only difference between us and the world now is that me and you do not have anything else. Meaning we have purely what comes from God, purely what comes from truth, which is this beautiful state of mind that we did not have to configure because God already created it. However, the world out there cannot experience this because although it's here, they have put up so much blocks and walls towards love that although this state of mind is right beneath their level of awareness, they can't perceive it because they have the shades on. They have built up clouds in every direction they look that are obscuring them, that is obscuring the light that lay beyond. And if they were to just put their hand on the cloud and dust it away and walk through it, they would see that it is substanceless. That cloud, a feather cannot rest upon it because it is nothingness. It has no foundation. It is not real. Those illusions that they are living in over there is simply not real. And they are going insane, fighting one another, attacking one another, really attacking themselves, being jealous of someone else, really believing that they're not enough themselves. They are doing all this insane thinking, believing that the source of their problem is outside of themselves, unfortunately, when they can take back their power and come into this beautiful state of mind that me and you are in right now. That's how and what is happening right now. Let's stay here. Let's stay here. Let's make it a priority to stay in this state of mind, because after describing what's going on right now, do you really want that? No. That's just plain and simple and common sense. You do not want that, and they don't want that either. But because they're identified with the ego, they really don't know what they want because they are looking for it where they cannot find it. They are looking for what they think they want outside of themselves, when if they were to look within and purify their internal world, then everything out there would adapt and acclimate as a result of them changing the cause. The effect, obviously, common sensely, would adapt. But no, the world is insane, trying to put band-aids over everything and change what's happening outside in order to heal internally and change the way they're feeling, which is so insane. If you think of individuals who are sick in their bodies, the body is an effect, and this medicine that they're taking is also an effect, and they're trying to heal an effect with an effect. Nothing's gonna work. Do you see how insane that is? It is just two effects clashing, temporarily going to make a quick little fix until they need their next dosage. Now, if they were to do something about healing their mind and purifying it within, then they would heal the sickness, because not right-mindedness is sickness. Not being in your right mind is a synonym for being sick. You are sick when you're not in your right mind, and you are healthy when you're in your right mind. Now, whenever you're not in your right mind, there is nowhere else for those symptoms to go other than where their source is inhabiting right now, which is this body. So now, because they're not in the right mind, the body, which is nothing, is now taking on the effects of the cause of their not right-mindedness, therefore ending up in sickness. And now they believe that something outside of themselves is going to help heal that, when it's not. If they were to do something about healing their mind first, then the sickness would go away, therefore they would no longer need that medicine out there. Now, sometimes what happens is they believe that that medicine outside of themselves is going to heal them, and what actually happens is, because they have so much belief in this thing outside of them and they take the medicine, they actually believe that it's going to heal them, and it does. But the medicine was not actually the cause of their healing. It was their mind believing that salvation lied in that thing, and because they believe that they're healed, when just as easily the doctor could have put a sugar pill in that pill. And if the patient actually believed that this is real medicine that's going to heal me, and they take it and it's just a sugar pill, but they don't know that, then they believed in it so much, they would be healed, and they would have thought that the healing was caused from the medicine outside of themselves, when really it was only their belief system, because they healed the problem at its source, which was the idea of separation. They healed themselves. It was not the medicine, it was the belief in healing. That's what's going on here. It's a placebo effect. You can alter your world, whatever it is that you would like to alter, financial, relationships, etc., any of that stuff you can alter by changing the cause, by 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 changing your mind. Everything else will be a result. There is no evidence to the contrary of anything that we've said the past 132 days at all. Let's continue. Yet, in truth, you found exactly what you looked for when you came. There is no world apart from what you wish, and herein lies your ultimate release. Change but your mind on what you want to see, and all the world must change accordingly. Ideas leave not their source, powerful and worthy of being highlighted. God is our source, and me and you leave not God. Me and you cannot leave our source. Just like how me and you are the source of everything that we see out there, and it cannot leave its source. This central theme is often stated in the text and must be borne in mind if you would understand the lesson for today. It is not pride which tells you that you made the world you see and that it changes as you change your mind, but it is pride that argues you have come into a world quite separate from yourself, impervious to what you think and quite apart from what you chance to think it is. Now I want to read this one more time before we continue. It states, "It is not pride which tells you that you made the world you see and that it changes as you change your mind." Now the ego would call that pride and arrogance. The ego would say, "Oh, look at those individuals over there having a conversation, thinking that they made this world and that their mind changes the world and the world changes with their mind. Look how arrogant they are. Look how prideful they are. They really believe that they have all that power. How insane of them," the ego says insanely, because the ego, being an insane thought, does not exist, and it looks at anything that opposes its thought system as insane. Just like me and you, being in our right mind, look at anything that is not this thought system and look at it as insane. Rightfully so, by the way, but the ego has no evidence to support its statements. It's just justifying its existence with no evidence at all, and it's not going to win. It's kind of funny, to be honest. Don't you think that's funny? All right, let's continue. But yeah, the ego would think that that's pride. The ego would think that that's arrogance. Anybody who is looking at us having this conversation right now would look at us as prideful and arrogant because they don't believe that they possess what we are discussing when they do. But because they don't believe they possess this power, that's just as powerful as not possessing it, because they believe that they don't possess it. Therefore, they can't use what they don't know they have. But it is pride that argues you have come into a world quite separate from yourself, impervious to what you think and quite apart from what you chance to think it is. There is no world, with an exclamation mark. The course hardly uses exclamation marks, which means that is very much so emphasized deliberately. There is no world. This is the central thought the course attempts to teach. Not everyone is ready to accept it, and each one must go as far as he can, let himself be led along the road to truth. He will return and go still further, or perhaps step back a while and then return again. Let's not step back a while, because me and you must return to our source. There is no way that we can't. So why are we going to prolong the inevitable? It is meaningless. It is insane to prolong the inevitable. By me and you being here now, already making it this far, why would we step back just to come back where we have to come back anyways? That's like digging a hole for yourself and you're 2 feet deep and you have to get out of the hole at some point. But before I get out, I'm going to dig myself 4 feet deeper so I can be 6 feet deep, and then I'll dig myself out. Why would you dig yourself in a hole all the way down that you have to pull yourself back out of anyways? And it's going to take more effort for you to pull yourself out of a hole that's 6 feet deep than it would if you were in a hole that was only 2 feet deep. Make sense? It's going to be harder for me and you to wake up to the state of mind if we let ourselves go all the way to depression and anger than if we were to catch it early, meaning when we're in the state of mind, we go our separate ways and we go out about our day and do whatever it is that we need to do. If we feel a tiny little pull towards irritation, get out, get out, get out, wake up, wake up. Don't go further than irritation, because if you go further, you're going to have to come back at some point, and it's going to be a lot more efforting for you to come back than it would if you just caught it early and woke back up, instead of going all the way down and then having the Holy Spirit walk all the way over there, grab your hand, and then wake you back up. Just make the decision, catch it early, because it's what you want. It's going to be to your benefit if you catch it early at irritation, rather than going all the way down, all the way to depression, and then having to pull yourself out of that 6 feet deep hole when you could have got out before your head was all the way underneath the ground. Now, let's go ahead and continue. But healing is the gift of those who are prepared to learn there is no world and can accept the lesson now, which I believe is me and you. I'm sure me and you have accepted this lesson right now in this moment. And as a result of that, healing is our gift because we are prepared to learn that there is no world. Their readiness, i.e., our readiness, will bring the lesson to them in some form which they can understand and recognize. So the only way someone can see truth is if they're ready for it. If you are ready for this information, which you are, and which I am, because we're here right now and we're comprehending this, we're ready for it. Now, if this were put in somebody's possession right now who is not ready for this, they're not going to know what to do with it. It's going to be meaningless to them, and they're not going to comprehend this at all. It's going to scare them away because of the vocabulary, the words, the thickness of the course, whatever reason that they look at it, they are not going to be ready for this because they're not searching for it. Me and you are searching for truth, which is why we're here. And if we were not searching, we couldn't have crossed paths, which means that because we are searching and we're doing it together, we cross each other's paths. And this is what the universe, if you will, orchestrated, that knew me and you together in each other's presence, studying this lesson right now, and me and you crossing paths and doing the lessons together was the perfect thing that me and you were both ready for at the moment in time that we came across each other, that would help me and you wake up as fast as possible. Remember, the universe is orchestrated in a way and programmed in a way that everybody's enlightenment is its number one priority at all times. That's why whenever you have ego goals like, I want this much money, well, that's a selfish ego goal, because how is that benefiting everyone around? Whenever you have a goal in mind that is benefiting yourself and everyone around you, then it will come about faster, because not only are you being benefited, but everyone around you is being benefited. And when you know that the universe operates and is programmed in a way for everyone's well-being and not just yours, and when you act in accordance with that law that is changeless and eternal, then you can finally change your world for the better. So me and you are ready for this information again, and let's congratulate ourselves for making it this far, because there's, again, a lot of individuals right now who are searching for this information, and they're searching for it in the wrong place. They are not ready for it. Let's give ourselves a round of applause for being ready for this information for that individual who's searching for it, because now me and you being ready for this and comprehending this on the level we do can now be that clarity for other individuals to be gravitated towards, and then me and you will heal them, and then they will heal everyone else, and it will be a big domino effect. And that is what we want. That is what we came for. Our holiness is our salvation. Our function is forgiveness. Forgiveness is our function as the light of the world, and our function and our happiness is one. All of these statements that we've been learning are very deliberate. They are intentional. This is truth that does not need to be defended. It is just what's happening. Me and you just happen to fall in the presence of each other with this course, and we are ready for this information, and we are here comprehending this. And let's, again, one more time, congratulate ourselves for that. Their readiness will bring the lesson to them in some form which they can understand and recognize. Me and you, our readiness brought this course to us in some form. Now remember, A Course in Miracles is not the truth. It is just one way of stating the only truth that there is. There's only one truth, and there's many different ways of stating that truth. Meaning, anybody who is ready for truth, it will come to them in a way that they can understand and recognize. And this just may have been a way that me and you understand and recognize. This may not be the way for everyone else to understand and recognize. So don't try to force it down anyone's throat, because you don't know what is best for them. Only the Holy Spirit knows, and only who they really are knows. Only that individual knows. And whenever they recognize a truth spoken, that whenever they recognize the truth spoken, in whatever form that it may take, that is the path that they are going to go on. So let's make sure that me and you are anchored in this state of mind, so that way we can help those who are ready for truth in whatever way that they would recognize. Me and you can be that recognition of truth for other individuals who are ready. Some see it suddenly on point of death and arise to teach it. Others find it in experience that is not of this world, which shows them that the world does not exist, because what they behold must be the truth, and yet it clearly contradicts the world. And some will find it in this course and in the exercises that we do today. Today's idea is true because the world does not exist. And if it is indeed your own imagining, and it is, then you can loose it from all things you ever thought it was by merely changing all the thoughts that you have gave it these appearances. By me and you changing all the thoughts that we have about the appearances themselves will be altered when we look at them again. They will no longer be the same. Just how me and you read this book today, and then we close it, and let's just say we come back a year from now, we're going to see something completely different in the book, not because the words rearranged themselves while we were gone, but because me and you have evolved. Therefore, we see an evolved meaning, and we have more awareness. We see more in depth on this. Like, I believe that the conversations we have been having for the past few months have been very great, like astonishingly great. But I could only imagine if we were to come back here again next year to this conversation we're having right now, and I wonder what we would find based off of our awareness of where we are now. Like, how different would we be perceiving this lesson that we're doing together right now a year from now, whenever our awareness is just skyrocketed to the roof? That's really an interesting thought to think about, because this lesson and conversation that we're having did not change, but because me and you did, we're going to see something different in it next time around. The sick are healed as you let go all the thoughts of sickness, and the dead arise when you let thoughts of life replace all thoughts you ever held of death. A lesson earlier repeated once must now be stressed again, for it contains the firm foundation for today's idea. You are as God created you. There is no place where you can suffer, and no time that can bring change to your eternal state. How can a world of time and place exist if you remain as God created you? They don't exist. They are of our own making, and we can grow beyond them if we are ready to do so, by seeing them for what they are, which is of our own making. We are not at the effect of distance and of time and space. Me and you are not at the effect of time and space. We are the makers of time and space, and whenever we regain control of our creation, then we can actually see it from a bird's eye view, from above the battlefield, if you will. And now we can manipulate time and space because we are above it, and we are at the cause of time and space, meaning we can manipulate time and space. Whenever we are at the effect of time and space, however, that statement that was just made seems very unrealistic, meaning whenever someone is at the effect of time and space and they hear you say that you can manipulate time and space, they look at you like you're insane because they don't understand that time and space is something that is not the cause. Time and space is an effect of our own making, and when we transcend that, one more time, because it's so beautiful and powerful to say, is that we can manipulate time and space. We're going to get to that further we go, but right now let's just remember that me and you are as God created us, always have been and forever will be. What is the lesson for today except another way of saying that you know yourself, the capital S self, who you really are, is the salvation of the world. To free the world from every kind of pain is but to change your mind about yourself, with a small s. One more time. To free the world from every kind of pain is but to change your mind about who you think you are and return to who you really are. There is no world apart from your ideas, because ideas leave not their source, and you maintain the world within your mind in thought. This is a powerful lesson. Oh my goodness. I could highlight this whole lesson. Yet, if you are as God created you, and you are, you cannot think apart from him, nor make what does not share his timelessness and love. Meaning, if we think something apart from God, we are not really thinking at all. We're simply hallucinating. Are these inherent in the world you see? Does it create like him? Unless it does, it is not real and cannot be at all. If you are real, and you are, the world you see is false, for God's creation is unlike the world in every way, and as it was his thought by which you were created, so it is your thoughts which made it and must set it free, that you may know the thoughts you share with God. Release the world with an exclamation mark, meaning that was deliberately placed there to emphasize the statement, release the world. Your real creations wait for this release to give you fatherhood, not of illusions, but as God in truth. God shares his fatherhood with you, who are his son, for he makes no distinctions in what is himself and what is still himself. What he creates is not apart from him, and nowhere does the Father end, the Son begin, as something separate from him. These are some very good hints right here, if you know what I mean. There is no world, because it is a thought apart from God, and made to separate the Father and the Son, and break away a part of God himself, and thus destroy his wholeness. Can a world which comes from this idea be real? Answer that question truthfully. Can a world which comes from the idea that there's a thought from God that and made to separate the Father and the Son and break away a part of God himself and thus destroy his wholeness? Can a world which comes from this idea be real? That's insane. Can it be anywhere? No. Deny illusions, but accept the truth. Deny you are a shadow briefly laid upon a dying world. Release your mind, and you will look upon a world released. Today, our purpose is to free the world from all the idle thoughts we ever held about it, and about all living things we see upon it. They cannot be there, no more can we, for we are in the home our Father set for us along with them. And we, who are as he created us, would loose the world this day from every one of our illusions, that we may be free. Begin the 15-minute periods in which we practice twice today with this. I, who remain as God created me, would loose the world from all I thought it was, for I am real, because the world is not, and I would know my own reality. Let's read that one more time. Me and you, who remain as God created us, would loose the world from all we thought it was, for we are real, because the world is not, and we would know our own reality. Then merely rest, alert, but with no strain, and let your mind in quietness be changed so that the world is freed along with you. You need not realize that healing comes to many brothers as far across the world as well as to the ones you see nearby. As you send out these thoughts to bless the world, powerful stuff. By me and you sending out these thoughts into the world, me and you are affecting those who appear near and who appear far, because there is no distance, remember. But you will sense your own release, although you may not fully understand as yet that you could ever be released alone. Throughout the day, increase the freedom sent through your ideas to all the world, and say whenever you are tempted to deny the power of your simple change of mind, I loose the world from all I thought it was and choose my own reality instead. Let's read that one more time. Me and you loose the world from all we thought it was and choose our own reality instead. And that was a beautiful lesson. That was lesson 132 of A Course in Miracles. And one more time before we go our separate ways today, me and you loose the world from all we thought it was. Now, this is very beautifully written, and we had a great conversation today. But remember, when we go our separate ways, it's going to actually require us to do something about applying this. Because talking about this is good because we're made aware, but now we have to see what's out there that causes us to go back asleep and dispel it in that moment and blow out that charge and release ourselves from those belief systems that no longer serve us, that never have served us. Let's release ourselves today. Let's set ourselves free and let's loose the world from all we thought it was. Now, that will be it for today's lesson, and we will meet here again tomorrow for lesson 133 of A Course in Miracles. I will see you then.